Hello my gorgeous loves out there and welcome. In today's video I'm doing a all brand ranking of eyeshadow palettes, and this time we are working with Natasha Denona. Surprisingly, I have a bunch of palettes from her and I want to let you know which ones are okay, which ones are not that good, and which ones are the best of the best. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bree and I am just a crazy lover of all things beauty, and I like to post a lot of fun and colorful makeup content. I like to do a lot of indie makeup, so if that's what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. Alright my loves, welcome. It is actually the day after Thanksgiving when I'm filming this, so I need to start putting up my Christmas decor. I always wait for the day after Thanksgiving to do that, but I'm ready to get super festive in this house and all that, fun stuff. I really love Christmas. But I do hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving, whether you spent some time with friends and family or got some alone time. I just hope it was a wonderful day for you. Mine was super chill, very relaxing. We just cooked a little bit. It was just me and my boyfriend, and this year we tried to do more like low carb for Thanksgiving, and we did pretty good. We did like cheesy cauliflower, we did stuffed mushrooms, we did like Brussels sprouts, and I really enjoyed it, and we didn't have like that crash that usually happens on Thanksgiving. So we're trying to keep up this healthy trend in our household. So that was really nice. But before I get into this ranking, if you're curious about my eye look, I did film this for Instagram. It might be up already. If not, follow me on Instagram. Check out for that. It should come up soon. I did use two of the Adept palettes, the Minka palette and the Heather Austin palette together, and I think it looks really pretty. Put some gems. It's kind of like a monochromatic purple look. But anyways, let's get into the ranking now. So this was actually a very easy ranking for me, and I think I have 10 palettes from Natasha Denona. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, 10. And I'm surprised I have that many since Natasha Denona is a pretty pricey brand, but I do really love her formula, especially when it comes to her matte formula. And I love the cream to powder shadows, even though a lot of people don't love that formula, but for some reason I really do. So number 10 on the ranking, which if you've been watching me for some time now, you will not be surprised that this is at the bottom, but this is the Pastel Palette. And I was very underwhelmed by this palette. I feel like the mattes in here were a little bit on the chalky end, and I actually struggled with the cream to powder mattes in here, and normally that's my favorite formula in most of Natasha Denona's palettes, so I was really surprised by that. I do think the metallics were really pretty, but they weren't like anything extra special that I could get from like other indie palettes. They were just nice, good metallics, so I don't feel like this was worth the price at all. And I feel like there's a lot of pastel palettes that are in my collection that perform better, that was a lot more affordable than this one. So I was kind of disappointed by that. I guess I was expecting it to be that like perfect pastel palette because I love Natasha Denona's formula, and I was like, okay, they're a high-end brand, they make good quality shadows, they could do a good pastel palette, and unfortunately they fell short in my book. I know some people like this palette, but it just didn't do it for me, unfortunately, and it costs a lot of money, but I'm gonna keep it because I can make it work, and I do like the metallics in there. So number 9 on the ranking, which it's not a bad palette. I think the formula is really nice in here. It's just a smaller one, and it's not as versatile, and it's very nudie, and I like a lot of color. But this is the Ayana palette, which I don't know if you can purchase this from Natasha Denona because I think I got this in a BoxyCharm, so it might have been a BoxyCharm exclusive. I don't remember, but it's really pretty. It's kind of more cool tone. Then number 9 on the ranking, which it's only here because it's a smaller palette and it's very nudie, and I like a lot of color. I like a lot of options, but this is the Ayana palette. I think I got this in a BoxyCharm. It might have been a BoxyCharm exclusive. I'm not sure if you can get this on Natasha Denona's website, but it's a really pretty nudie, more cool tone palette. It has this beautiful like taupey shade right here, which I love. It's 3 mattes, 2 metallics, and none of the mattes in here are cream to powder formula. I feel like it's just a very easy palette to use if you just want to do a nice nudie look. You don't want to have to think about your look. You just want to throw something together, run out the door. I think this is great for people that like more, I guess, nudie wearable makeup, you could say, like that just doesn't want to have to think about their makeup. Now, it's very rare that I go on that end where I just want to slap something really quick together and run out the door. Most of the time I want drama, color, depth, extra smoky, a lot going on, a lot of gems, you know how I like it if you've been watching me for some time. So it's very rare that I pull this palette out and ever use it, but I do enjoy it, and every time I have used it, I thought my look came out really pretty. Then number 8 on the ranking, which is actually a regret purchase of mine, and for some reason I cannot let it go, but this is the Lila palette. It is a very cool tone palette that has a few pops of like magenta and like this one purple, and I was hoping this palette was going to be more of a true like purple color story. And if you think about it, it is leaning more nude. Like if I took this pink out, right, and maybe this purple, overall it's a lot of cool tone, like brownie shades in here, and then the metallics are more like satins. They're smooth, but they don't give you a lot of shine. They're not that sparkly, and they're definitely just lean more satin, which is not what I prefer when it comes to my metallics. And I just wish there was more from this. I wish it was more purple. I wish it was a little bit more sparkly. It's a pretty underwhelming palette, and this was one of the $100 palettes, so I kind of didn't get my money's worth because I never think to touch it, but because it was so pricey, I can't get myself to let it go, even though I don't use it, which makes absolutely no sense. But that is number 8 on the ranking. And then number 7, and this is here because it's not a color story that I tend to go towards, but this is the Sunrise palette. It's a very warmy, kind of sunsetty palette. It has like those warm oranges, some peaches, a little bit of like berry burgundies in here, and like these like peachy golds. It's very pretty, and I feel like if I'm in the mood for that sunsetty look, I will pull for this, but I tend to reach for greens, purples, blues, like a lot of cool tones. I don't often go the warm tone route. I mean, every now and then I do, so I don't feel like I reach for this one as much as I reach for the other palettes that I'm going to show you. But I do think the formula is really nice. It's really pretty. I think the mattes perform really well. I don't think there's any cream to powder formulas in here. It's just all regular mattes. I really do like this citrine shade, and I think the metallics are actually pretty in this. They're definitely better than the Lila palette. It's just not something I reach for very often. Then number 6 in the ranking, which it's like midway. It's a really good palette, and I actually really enjoy using this. This is the Love palette. It is so pretty. It's a berry purple pinky palette. I always pull for this during Valentine's Day. I get so inspired by this color story, and I think these tones mix so well together. Like I think purples look really pretty with reds. I think reds and pinks look good together. I think pinks and purples work really nicely, so I feel like it all flows. And I really like this like silvery shade in here, and some of the metallics have little sparkles in here, and then these like mauve tones. And I do feel like you can do a lot with this. Like you could go purple, you could go red, you could do more of like a pinky and mauve like color story. So I do really enjoy this. I think it's pretty, and I need to play with this more actually. This is a good one. I just think this is like mid for me because I like even more color, and some of these palettes just blew my mind away. That's why they're higher. Then number 5 on the ranking, which I love this one so much because it leans so cool tone, but this is the Retro palette that is full of these like cool tone pinks. There's some cool tone browns. It has some like cool tone kind of plummy shades, and I think the quality in here is really beautiful. It has some of the cream to powder shades that I really love. The metallics are super sparkly in here, and I was really impressed with this palette. I loved how my looks turned out, and I do like that there's a little bit of these kind of pinky terracotta shades over here as well. And surprisingly, it can be pretty versatile, like if you just lean on certain parts of the palette, and I just really like it. It's really, really pretty, and I enjoy that, especially during the like winter season, because I love cool tones during the winter. Then number 4 in the ranking, which is a more muted color story. It's a little bit more grungy, but it's still colorful, and I think it's really, really pretty. This is the Trichrome palette. This was the first time they ever had a like multi-chrome in a palette, and these 3 are all multi-chromes. Now they lean a little bit more satin. They're not as like intense as the Venus shadows or Cleona, but I still think they're really nice, and you you can definitely see the shifts in them. I really like this Scarab shade the most, but it's the mattes that I really love about this palette. I love the tones in here. There's a lot of more grungy shades. Like I love this like olivey khaki browny green. I love these yellowy green shades in here. I love these other berry tones. Like you can do a lot, and I feel like this pairs so nicely with the other Natasha Denona palettes, and I think the mattes are nice and pigmented. They're blendable, and I do like the multi-chromes. I still think they look nice. They're just, you know, not as intense, but they're still really pretty on the eye. So I think my favorite part of this is the tones that are in this palette. Number 3 on the ranking, which actually pairs really nicely with the Trichrome palette, is the Circo Loco palette. I think this is the most colorful palette that Natasha Denona has done. It has so many different colors to work with, so you can create so many different looks with this. It has a good range as well, from light to dark. Like there's these beautiful jewel tones, these beautiful pastels. The metallics are really nice and foiled. The mattes are very pigmented and blendable. I just love the range in here. It makes me happy when I look at it, and I just love the options. And they're actually selling this as a Black Friday deal with the Trichrome palette, like in a bundle, for only $129. And these both go for $129, so that is actually a really good deal. Or it's like getting each of them for like $65, which is pretty much like half off. So I think that's such a good deal. If you don't have these two and you've been eyeing them out, like that is such a good bundle, and they pair beautifully together. I just think like the tones, they just match up so nicely. So this is a really good one. It's so pretty and so much fun. Then number 2 in the ranking, which I think this has been discontinued. I don't think you can get this anymore. I might be wrong, but I don't remember seeing this on the website. But this is the Gold palette, which is so good. I adore this, and there's just something special about the formula in here, especially the metallics. Like I love this lime chrome shade, which I think most people love that have this palette, but the metallics are super sparkly. It's so like glamorous. Like I feel like I get these beautiful glam goldy looks with it. And then you have a little bit of like teal to pop in, and I've always been super happy with how my looks turned out. I also love this shade right here that is like a white to like goldy shifty metallic that makes a beautiful inner corner highlight. But this lime chrome, I don't know what it is. There's just something so special about it. I'm sure it's not really picking up, but it does have like a shift to it. This shade too is really pretty and creamy and like foiled. I don't know the tones, I don't know what it is, but something about this has a hold on my heart, and I just adore this. Like I'm telling you guys, every time I use this palette, I felt like a goddess when I wear it. Then number 1 on the ranking, which is my most talked about Natasha Denona palette, and I feel like a lot of you will already know that this is going to be number 1, but this is the Metropolis palette. It's such a beautiful fall-y kind of grungy color story. You get so many options in here, from like olive tones, you got red, you got some teals, a little bit of blue, nudie shades. Like you can do a lot with this, and I wish that Natasha Denona would come out with more setups like this where the pans are smaller so you get more colors in the bigger pans, because I feel like it's rare for a person to go through an eyeshadow. I mean, unless you're someone who uses the same palette over and over and uses it till it's done and then buys another one, but most of us have more than one palette, and it's very rare that we're going to hit pan on an eyeshadow. So I'd rather have more options, and there's just a lot you can do with this. I think the formula is beautiful. It has these beautiful mattes, it has the cream to powders in here, these beautiful metallics. I reach for this every fall. I've traveled with this palette many times because it gives me so many options. I like the grunge, I like the tones, and you can do beautiful completed looks with this. Now, I know some people didn't like this palette, which shocked me because this is my most favorite Natasha Denona palette, but that's the beauty of the makeup world, is there's so many options and people have all different preferences, and you can find something that works for you. But I think this is absolutely stunning and one of the best palettes I've tried from Natasha Denona, and it will probably be number 1 for a while unless they come out with another setup with this with like more brighter colors. Maybe that would like put this at the 2nd spot, but that was number 1 on the ranking. And all of my Natasha Denona palettes, I love all of them overall. I think the only one I could do without is maybe the Lila palette and the Pastel palette, but I'm gonna keep them because I'm a hoarder and I don't want to let go of my fancy Natasha Denona palette. But you guys will have to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you surprised by this ranking? Would you put these things in different places? Are you like not a fan of Natasha Denona, or do you you have all her palettes. I would love to hear from all of y'all. And if you're new here and you enjoy this video, you like a lot of fun, colorful makeup content, you like a lot of rankings, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I have all these palettes linked where you can find them. I have any videos of mine that I did on any of these palettes in case you want to see some looks, get some swatches, and get some more info. I will also link the makeup that I am wearing in case you're curious, like my eyeshadow and face makeup. I will also have my social media platforms. I'm also on Instagram as Breezy Lifestyle and Breezy_beauty. And this look will be coming to my Breezy_beauty if you want to see how I created this. I would really love for you guys to join my Instagram fam. But that was everything, guys. Thank you so much for being here, supporting my channel, being amazing. I appreciate you guys all so much, and I just hope you guys are doing well wherever you are in the world, and I'm just sending you all so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.